We're mighty companions. Mighty companions. I need to hear some truth. Anybody else need to hear some truth? I need to hear a little truth today. There's truth. Look, like we say in this house, some truth. We're going to do some truth. Welcome on Facebook Live, Mighty Companions. I'm Earl Purdy, and we are going to do a course in miracles, which is a course in right perception. Course in Miracles says a miracle is a correct perception. It's deep. That if we have a correct perception, it's a miracle. It really is. So we're going to be on page 231, in chapter 12, 231, section 7, looking within. We're still continuing with looking within. On page 231, chapter 12, what does that mean? Whenever we hear that term, looking within, we hear that a lot. You need to go within. You need to look within. What does that mean? And this has been such a powerful section that I have been going through this entire section. It's going to get even deeper today. One thing I know I learned about this section is that it'll clear out a room. That's one of the things I've learned about.
Deeper it goes.
Looking within ain't popular.
Depends on.
So, we're going to start with paragraph 7. And we're going to go through what, I was saying the other week that what the Course in Miracles is a set of, it's constantly giving us universal laws. It's giving us those laws we can always count on, that's always true, that we could use no matter what. And that's one of the things I love about it. So in this particular section, we're being told what looking within means, and it's also teaching a lot about how to manifest what you want to see. Because the whole thing is about how do you see what you want to see? How and why is it that you're not seeing what you think you want to see? And one of the things it says in paragraph 7 is, I said before that what you project or like extend is up to you, but you must do one or the other. So either you're going to project or you're going to extend. And it said before that projection is simply something that's inside of you that you're denying is inside of you and you're seeing it in somebody else. An extension is just saying whatever you see is an extension of what's in your own mind. So really it's the same thing. Only in one case, one person's saying, I know I'm the one that's extending this and what I'm projecting is coming from my own mind. The other person is doing the exact same thing and seeing exactly what they project from their mind, but they're just denying it and just saying it's somebody else doing it. But he says you're going to do one or the other. But in both cases, you're seeing what's in your own mind. He says because that is a law of mind. And you must look in before you look out. When I look at the world situation, there ain't no way we're going to solve the world situation, even though it's cool to be an activist and to put correct thoughts and loving thoughts and positive thoughts out in your environment. You know, somebody's made to be an activist in the world. I'm totally cool with that. But I also realize that you're not going to get 5+ billion people to change their mind by trying to talk to them and get them to change their mind. Yep. You know, it just ain't going to happen. First of all, we don't have time to change. Think how hard it is to change the mind of the people you know. And the people that you feel like you really got a connection with. Now, you telling me that you think you're going to change the mind? Like, I'm going to really go to a Ku Klux Klan meeting and change their mind about black folk. That ain't happening. Right. That ain't happening, right? So the Course is telling me something. The Course in Miracles says something so radical that most of the time your mind doesn't even want to entertain it. Which is, it says, when you really finally accept the truth for yourself, it says that everyone will be healed. He said, if just one of us really and truly did this, the Course makes the claim that the entire world would be healed. That's a big claim. But I'm working on that one because it's the one that seems like I could have the most control over.
Right.
Right? It's the other plan, which is trying to make other people be different so that I would be happy, to change other people's political views.
Never.
That's going to take too long. But so it can't be about trying to change each individual mind. That can't be the answer to the healing of the world. So I believe it's what the Course is saying, because that's based on the idea that we are one, which means we're all connected and we're all joined. So that's like saying if you got a pot full of water, no matter what corner of the pot you pour some more water in, it all rises because it's just one thing.
Right.
And so that would, at a consciousness level, then that could be true in terms of any one of us being a conduit for the truth, lifting all of us. But because most people are waiting for somebody else to change, then we haven't experienced that. I haven't experienced that healing that the Course is talking about, because I still have work to do to allow the blocks to be removed in my own mind. And if it's true that the world will be saved when my mind is changed, now I understand why the world appears to be the way it is. You follow me? So that's what it says here. It says, as you look in, you choose the guide for seeing. So first I look on the inside, I choose who's going to guide what I see. And then I look out and I see the witnesses to the guide that I chose. He says, that's why you find what you see. Because first you look inside and decide that you're going to see it, and then you see it. And then he says, what you want in yourself, you will make manifest. And whatever you want in yourself, he says, you're going to accept it from the world because you put it in the world by wanting it. So the Course, so what is it telling us right now? It's saying that whatever I want in myself, which is love or fear, peace or conflict, I'm going to manifest, and I'm going to accept either love or fear or peace and conflict from the world, because I'm putting love or fear or peace or conflict in the world by wanting it. So what does that mean? It means that when you think you are projecting what you don't want, it's really because you still want it. Whenever you think you're projecting what you don't want, the Course says it's really because you do want it. So let me say again. Okay, so I project conflict and fear, which is something I say I do not want. But there is really, the truth is, there's a part of me that does want conflict and fear. There's a part of me that does fear. So the Course says, so you really have fear, but you're projecting your fear and saying you don't want your fear. But he says at some level you do want it. And how do I know I do want it? I have it. Right. So how do I know if I want fear? I have it. How do I know if I want upset? I have it. How do I want to know if I want joy and peace and happiness? I have it. See, the Course in Miracles is that he says you can see where your faith is really real, because that'll be the area of your life that you really see it done. So wherever you see something done in your life and you're really experiencing it in your life, that's the thing you really want. That is the thing that you really want. This is the life I really want, because it's the life I'm living now. My mama, my father, nobody's responsible for the life that I'm experiencing right now. I'm responsible for the life that I'm experiencing right now based on this. So if you are projecting things you don't want, the Course says this leads directly to dissociation, because it represents the acceptance of two goals, each perceived in a different place, separated from each other because we made them different. What in the heck is that saying? If I'm not being honest about the fact that I have love in my mind and fear in my mind, that I have peace in my mind and conflict in my mind, then I'm going to look out and see a divided world where it looks like there's peace in the world and conflict in the world. It's going to look like there's love in the world and fear in the world. Why? Because there's love in my mind and fear in my mind, and there's peace in my mind and conflict in my mind. But I'm in denial about the conflict, fear, anger, and guilt part. So I see it in the world, and I wonder where it comes from. And so I say it comes from you. That all the conflict in the world isn't coming from me because I'm a really peaceful guy. I'm a really nice guy. But there's a lot of conflict in the world. Doesn't have anything to do with me. It's coming from you. And so the Course is saying, if I'm in denial about what's going on inside of myself, then I'll see what? A divided world outside myself. But I don't see the division as being inside myself. People don't see the conflict as being inside of them. They see the conflict as being outside of them. And that's what the Course just said. If you are dissociating and you're saying you don't have those qualities within you, then he says, then you see this divided world where it looks like there's love and fear, but you don't think it's inside of you. And so he says, then that gives you the illusion that you're in integrity, that you're just only this nice, loving person. And so that enables you to believe you're just pursuing one goal, which is love. But I'm wondering where's the anger and the guilt and the lack coming from? He says, because you think you don't want it, but you really do want it because there's a part of you that thinks you're separate from God and a part of you that thinks you're separate from love. So the Course in Miracles is explaining all the questions that people ask, but it's not the answer they like. So that's what makes it a challenge. I want to know where my lack is coming from, but I don't want to hear that it's coming from the lack thoughts I have inside of my own mind, and then I'm projecting it outside of myself, and now I'm seeing it and living it. I want to believe that there's lack in my life because of the economic situation that America is going through right now and the trade tariffs that's going on with China. I want to believe that I'm in conflict right now, not because of what I'm choosing to think right now, but I'm in conflict right now because people don't really appreciate me and they don't really see my value. You follow what the Course is saying? That there's a part of us that has the illusion of integrity by thinking, I only want love, I only want peace. And then the Course in Miracles says, but as long as you perceive the world as split, he says, that's how you can tell you're not healed yet. So what does that mean? Just what it said. That's why I missed it, okay? In other words, as long as I think there's love and fear, as long as I'm seeing love and fear, as long as I'm seeing peace and conflict, as long as I'm seeing lack and abundance, as long as I'm seeing sickness and health, I'm not healed. It means I have not alleviated all my fear yet. Course says to be healed means that your fear is undone. So from a Course in Miracles perspective, to heal means to have your fear and sense of separation undone. So I can't sit up here and tell you all I love everybody and I'm full of nothing but peace and joy, and yet I see anger around me and peace around me, poverty around me and abundance around me, happiness around me and unhappiness around me. The Course won't let me get away with that. It won't let me get away with saying my mind is completely healed just because I'm feeling good today. That's deep. That's deep. Do you know that it just said you could find out how you could never fool yourself? Do you see any kind of conflict anywhere in the world? Then you are not healed yet. I am not healed yet. Don't tell me I'm healed. Because it may sound positive to tell me I'm healed, but you're not helping me by telling me I'm healed. You follow what I'm saying? You know, it wouldn't make sense if I had a horrible stomach ache to the point that I went to the emergency room and they asked me, did I have pain inside of me? And I said, no, I feel great. It's until I tell them the truth that I'm in pain and where the pain is located, that's what it's going to take for them to be able to heal me. If I try to be positive and sit up there with the pain and say, oh, I'm feeling great, I'm healed. Then the Course is saying, because we'll play those kind of games, then if you see it anywhere, tell yourself you're not healed. That way you'll never fool yourself. He says there's a section in the Course in Miracles called the test of truth. It says, ask yourself, do you see any pain or any fear in yourself? Do you see any pain or any fear in anybody you know? Do you see any pain or any fear in anything, in anything you can think of? He said, unless you can say yes to all three of those, you haven't healed yet. Because people will say, I feel great. I'm totally full of peace. He says, okay, but that's not the test of whether or not you got the truth yet. What about the people you know? Are all of them in peace? And then he goes, and let's take it a step further. Are all the people that you can even think of that you don't even know personally in peace? Unless you can say yes to all of those, he says, you still have not had your perception truly corrected. And I used to take so much pride in thinking that I had really healed because I felt good, even if everybody else felt like crap. And the Course is saying, no, and what's really deep, if somebody give you a test like that, a part of you will say that's impossible. Like if I don't really, I'm not going to really be healed until everybody I know, everybody I think of, and everybody that I can even think of is happy, then I can't pull that off, right? That's exactly what the Course in Miracles wants you to come to the conclusion of. That you can't pull it off by yourself. That you can't have unconditional, complete love that never ends on your own. That you'll never have happiness without God, without your connection to Source. That's why it'll present premises to us that our ego can't possibly pull off. My personality self absolutely cannot figure out how I'm going to be healed when I see myself is really feeling peaceful and happy. All the people I know are also peaceful and happy. And all the people I can even think of are peaceful and happy. My mind goes into immediate tilt. It ain't no way it could figure out how to pull that off. And so what does that mean? It means I got to go to something greater than my own ego if I want to be healed. I got to go to a higher power. Okay, that immediately knocks the ego out. The ego loses awareness and consciousness and energy because the ego is only interested in what it thinks it can do on its own, because it's the part of us that thinks it's autonomous and self-sufficient and in charge of everything separate from everybody else. So when people say they're ready to study spiritual truth, what makes it such a challenge is it's not the same as saying, I want to manifest a car. It's not the same as saying I want to manifest a boyfriend. It's not the same as saying I want to manifest more money. It's not the same as saying I want to manifest more physical pleasure and more sex. So when you leave all power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, you lose 99% of the people in the house.
Yeah, right.
If you're not talking about how I can get more pleasure, how I can get more power, how I can get more specialness and fame, if you're not talking about how I can get more money and how I can get more physical pleasure, the average person, that's what they're pursuing all the time. So if you're not talking about directly how to make that happen, the ego part of the mind doesn't listen, because the ego part of the mind believes it can go out there and make some money, can go out there and give itself some physical pleasure, can go out there and get somebody. So all those things seem like they're within the ego's realm, that we can do that. But the minute we hear world peace, the minute we hear stuff like eternal life, then it goes tilt, 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 because it's not something I can figure out how to do. So if you're a true spiritual student, you're trying to continue to evolve and grow. So you're trying to get back to the remembrance of who you really are, so that you can have control over this instead of all this seeming to have control over you. For real. And that's what it says here. It says, to be healed is, now notice that. Okay, so I say I want to be healed. Well, then the Course says to be healed is to pursue one goal. So if you are right now pursuing the goal of peace, love, and happiness, which is really the same thing, then you're pursuing one goal. So if you're pursuing one goal, you are in the process of healing. If you're pursuing one goal, you're now in the process of healing. He says, and that's why you heal, because you've only accepted one goal and you just want one goal. God, this is hard stuff to teach.
Simplicity.
Because it's so simple and so logical that it's baffling. Most people have a lot of goals, do they not? When you talk to most people, do they not have a lot of goals that they're trying to do? And haven't you been seeing it all your life? And haven't you been seeing a lot of people with a lot of goals and they're still unsatisfied? The Course says, well, the problem is they shouldn't have a lot of goals. They should have one goal. The person who has one goal will be healed. And that one goal is love. That one goal is joining. That one goal is connecting. That one goal is forgiving. That's all the same goal. So until Earl wants only love, until Earl, that is the most important thing, is love, then I am not healed. Now, if I want a washing machine, does that make me bad? Does that make me sinful? Does that make me guilty? Does that make me condemned by God? Does that mean I'm messed up if I want a washing machine? No. It just means I'm not healing. Doesn't mean I'm bad. The Course is saying you should only want one thing, and out of that one thing, everything else will be added. It's sort of like that statement in the Bible, seek ye first the kingdom of God and everything else will be added. That's what the Course is saying. If you all just want the truth, if the truth is the most important thing to you, then you will have all your fear undone. Because don't forget, to heal means to undo fear. When I say heal, I'm not talking about you having a scratch that got healed on your body. I'm talking about you are no longer afraid or feel guilty or feel sick in any way. That's healing from the Course perspective. God, I'm so glad I'm doing this today. Because I really want to get I got to go into faith mode. And faith mode is when you get into hardcore Course in Miracles, are you going to still continue to teach it even if everybody you know stop coming, and you have to be patient, Earl, until the new people show up? See, I've been 40 years, and I know that whenever you make a change, some people stick with you. Some people don't because they need to have somebody in your life that's giving them now what you used to give them. And some people you have to just choose out a relationship with whenever you make a change. And so I'm making a big change on the inside. And so therefore I've got to be willing to let the outer change with it. No matter if that means people leave and people stay. Because I can only teach in the way that I'm inspired to now. Because that's the only way God can come through me, because the Course in Miracles has taught me that whenever God is functioning through you, you feel inspired. So I can teach the way I've always taught because I know how to do that. Or I could teach the way I feel like teaching because it's the way I'm inspired to teach right now. And that's the choice that all of us make. Most people are on jobs that don't inspire them. They don't get up in the morning and they're inspired. So they know God isn't keeping them in that job. They are keeping themselves in that job. And they're keeping themselves in that job out of fear and out of lack of faith. Because they think they're taking care of themselves, so they have to try to make it through doing something they don't really like. That's an obvious indication that the person has not healed their minds. Now, if they were there and felt peaceful and inspired, then that's where they should be. But if they're there and they hate every day the alarm clock goes off, that job is a punishment. It's not where they're supposed to be. And that's what he's saying right here. We got two goals. One part of me believes I deserve to have all kinds of peace and joy and be inspired. And there's another part of me, obviously, to stand on a job that I don't like, that means that it believes I should be there. That's what he says. We got two goals. But we try to tell ourselves we only got one, and then the world reflects back to us our two goals. And all we have to do to be healed is go, oh, that's two goals. Let me stop focusing on one. It's too simple. I need much more complicated answers to my problems than what you're talking about. Because everything you're saying, Earl, I could do today if I wanted to.
Yeah. If I wanted to.
If I wanted to, I could walk out of here and go, I just want the truth. That's all I want is the truth. That's it. That's all I wanted in a situation. That's all I wanted in a circumstance. That's all I wanted in a relationship. All I want is only the truth. And I would start to be healed. That's what this book, and he says everything I need would be sent to me to bring that healing about. The relationships would be sent to me. The situations would be sent to me. He says you can't meet everybody in the world, so God has very specific contacts for you. That there is not a relationship you've ever had with anybody that was an accident. It was all prearranged. it's like from a course perspective, we're like the Indian culture where they used to have prearranged marriages. That's exactly what you've been experiencing your whole life, prearranged relationships.
Right.
It was not an accident that you were in a with anybody you've ever been in a relationship with. It's no accident. We're in a relationship with each other. But what I have to do if I want to continue to grow is allow you to come and allow you to go. And I've always wanted to cling to people and hold on to people. And the Course in Miracles taught me that it is rare to have a relationship with anybody that lasts a lifetime. That is much more normal to form relationships with people, have a very intense teaching learning situation with them, and then appear to separate is the normal way that relationships happen the most. So no one should be beating themselves up and condemning themselves because they have had a relationship breakup or a job breakup or any kind of breakup in any kind of way. It's not normal to spend your whole life with somebody. That's not the most common thing. Every relationship you have is not meant to last a lifetime. You're not a relationship failure. If you've been married and got 10 divorces, you're not a relationship failure. If it looks like you never have relationships that last more than 2 weeks, you are not you could apply it to a relationship, job, money, anything. Right. See, why do I study this 40 years later? Because it unconditionally loves me. It always lets me off the hook of guilt. No matter what I do, this book keeps telling me I'm loved no matter what. And so that makes me become more and more honest with myself about all my feelings, my hates, my likes, all of it, because now I don't believe my Creator is going to punish me for wanting to take a few people out.
Right?
Because I felt that way before.
Right?
Have you ever felt that way before in your whole life? Yeah. And why did I dare not admit that to myself? Because I thought somehow or another I was going to be punished or I was a bad person. And then I got into the Course and they kept saying, there's nothing you can do to lose eternal love. Earl, there's nothing you can do to lose love. There's nothing you can do to lose the love of someone that really loves you. That's right. There is nothing you can do to lose the love of someone that really loves you. Nothing, 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 nothing. Then I go, all right, I got some work to do. Right? You immediately get out of denial. Or like when the Course says love is trust. And you go, okay, the person I really love is the person I absolutely, totally trust 100%. And you do that and go through the people you know, and you'll find out real quick who you love.
Right.
Because there's no such thing as saying, Earl, I love you, but I don't trust you. Nope. Somebody ever tell me they don't trust me, it's like saying I don't love you.
That's right.
You can't love me and not trust me. But I do love some people, but I don't trust them. No, you don't. You may want to love them. The Course in Miracles says there are just two states of consciousness. Either you're loving or you want to love. Either you're being loving or you want to be loving. That's it. So if I attack you, I want love. Iran and the United States want love from each other. That's what's happening. They really want love from each other. Me and the Ku Klux Klan, we want love for each other. Because think about it, there's nothing more blind than hating someone you don't know and because of the color of their skin. You got to be so unconscious, it's a wonder you can drive a car. That is such an illogical way to deal with people that there is no way a sane mind can be racist. There's no such thing as a sane racist. There's no such thing as a sane murderer. There's no such thing as a sane rapist. There's no such thing as a sane anybody that attacks anybody for any reason. There's no such thing as I'm sane and I murdered my parents. That's what this book says. And you've already learned how to have compassion for insane people. Think about it. You've already learned, oh, he's crazy. Well, I'm going to give him a break. He's crazy. And the course said, I'm going to give y'all a break. Y'all crazy. And when I first read that, I said, no, this is insulting. This book he says the biggest mistake you can make is underestimating how insane we are. He said, you want to know what the biggest mistake you can make? You all don't realize how crazy you are. You don't even have the slightest idea how crazy you are. You all attack each other. You don't feed each other. You don't house each other. You don't clothe each other. It said, y'all crazy.
Just plain nuts.
Just plain nuts. But you're loved. You so loved. That's why you still exist. He says, if God stopped loving you, you'd cease to exist. What's sustaining you is sustaining you no matter what you're thinking, no matter what you're doing, because it loves you unconditionally. It, of course, says your very life is the proof that God is real. The fact that you're living at all means God is real. And I went, wow. I said, well, how come I'm not enjoying it? He says, because you don't know that you should only be pursuing love. You should only want love. You should only want the truth. You should only want peace. That's why you're not experiencing it. It's because you're experiencing the other things that you want more. That's so logical. How do I know I don't only want love? Well, it's not only love that I'm seeing. How do I know I want something other than the truth? Everything around me is reflecting everything but the truth. And then you start to change your mind and you begin to draw people to you who are similar to you, who want to do the same thing that you are doing. And you become really precious to each other because you know you're in a world that's projecting that part of your mind is still crazy. And so you're glad to find parts that you're projecting from your mind that's beginning to be loving. And so we end up treasuring each other more and feeling more gratitude for each other than ever before, to be blessed enough to know some people in an insane world that really want to change their mind and really want to be loving. You don't take each other for granted. You thank God and jump up and down that you have an opportunity to come together like we do right now, to be around people of a like mind and want to change their mind. We become more precious to each other as we recognize that we are like the first little shoots of a plant in a garden we planted, trying to grow. And we're surrounded by weeds that's been growing for ages. And so we got to water each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amen to that.
That's the true meaning of golden shower.
Showering, bro. Spray.
Like I say, I don't know who's going to be here a few weeks from now. But it's going to be some people I can have some fun with. Because that's going to be Earl Uncensored.
Bring it.
Yeah, I don't have nothing to lose.
Nothing but.
I don't have anything to lose by being myself and everything to gain. I woke up in the last month or so at a level that's I'm still integrating. And y'all gonna have to deal with it. Or not. Or not. You know? Because I love you more. I appreciate you more. I see your value more than I ever have.
So do we.
You know what I mean? That's what I mean when I say I've changed. If somebody said they've changed or they said they've awakened, be on the lookout for more patience.
Yeah.
More love, more understanding. And don't go around people you don't like if you don't have to.
That's right.
Somebody's have to tell us that. If you were to really not like me or not want to be here, I hope you will love me enough not to come. You see, that's all I'm saying. Because I want to learn how to love, and I have fears. I want to go past those fears with people who also admit they have fears. And they want to go beyond those fears with me together. I don't want to do it with somebody who's pretending that they're more loving than they are, and everybody know they're not. Right? So he says, so that's why that next sentence, before I go to that next sentence, because it's so deep. Anything you want to share, any questions you want to ask about anything we talked about? Yeah, the mola.
Yes, bro.
Please speak loud so they can hear you online.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, the people online too. I want you to be able to hear you.
It's either I'm extending or projecting. And whatever I project is what I do not want to see in myself and I see in somebody else so that I can, release myself from the responsibility of seeing in myself first. Because if I see it in myself first, then I'll be less likely to project it outside.
That's right.
It doesn't feel good.
You will not be an angry person. That's anger management. Anger management means I'm taking responsibility for how I feel. Because somebody that's taking responsibility and not projecting their feelings on other people don't get mad. Right.
So one of the things that I love in here and online, we were having a little dialogue about having just the one goal. And that even coming to the beginning of the new year, how many people have set 2020 goals, right? And so not only is it about having one goal, but having the goal not change, right? That I'm not in 2020 pursuing love, and next year I'm pursuing passion, and next year, right? But I have one goal.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm curious about if I love someone, I trust someone, because like with children, I can trust they're not going to lock the door, or I can trust they're going to forget their lunch, but I'm going to trust that they're going to come home every night. I mean, to me, trust seems like it's like skill, like different people have different skills. And so.
But that also sounds like how we look at love, right? That we think, look, there are different kinds of love for different kinds of situations. Just like you're saying, there are different kinds of trust for different. That's what I'm saying. Trust and love are the same things. But when the Course is talking about trust, it's talking about trust in what we are, trust in the trust in our relationship with God, the trust of a love that never ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
The real,
right? Because
not
the out stuff, right? That the personality stuff is not the level that the Course is. That's what makes it such a deep teaching, because the Course never really is ever talking to the human personality that thinks it's on its own and trying to make it, because he says that part of us can't even hear the truth. He literally says that when a person really believes they're separate and they're totally convinced that they're separate, they are not able to hear the truth. He says the people that could get the Course. He says the people that could get the Course have to be partially sane. He says, but if you're totally insane and you just totally believe what the world teaches, and you totally believe you're separate, and you totally believe you're a woman, and you totally believe you're a man, and you believe that's what you are, and you're trying to be a nice spiritual man or a nice spiritual woman, that's still the ego. What the Course is saying is that I want to get you in touch with what created your ego. I want you to get in touch with who you really are beyond what you think you are. I want to get you in touch with the part of you that's already whole and perfect, so you don't have to be striving for it anymore, because it's already that.
Right.
So if I love someone, then I'm seeing them whole and complete and divine and an extension of me, one with me. That's what they're absolute.
Right. You're seeing them as one with you, or you're wanting to see them as one with you. And I'm going to keep saying that, because unless you put that wanting to, then you won't be able to integrate this with your personality world itself. You won't. You have to go, because if me loving you means seeing you as perfect and whole and innocent no matter what, and I know I don't do that, then it sounds like another one of those impossible things that I've just been told to do. But if it says to me, or I want to get to the point I see you that way one day, then I relax immediately. Just what you did. Oh, I know. Yeah, I want, and that's what it said. Pursue one goal. And then when it says that, it's talking about pursue the goal of being the president of your own company. Pursue the goal of having more money in your IRA. The Course in Miracles never talks about those things because the Course in Miracles says those things absolutely have nothing to do with your happiness. Mm-hmm. And it wants to talk about what's going to have something to do with your happiness. It's not criticizing those things because it says if you don't believe in God, I'm paraphrasing, if you don't believe in the Creator, then you need to temporarily believe in the external healing stuff that you believe in. If you don't believe that God can provide for you to pay your rent, then you need to go get a job. Mm-hmm. Because now you believe you're the one that can provide for you to have your rent. And so you know whether you have that kind of faith by how much fear you feel. So therefore, you know you have fear about money, and you're not able to allow yourself to be, the Course says, given what you need to stay. The Course says God will give you what you need because God knows you have need of money while you think you're here. Mm-hmm. But it also has some conditions. And that condition is you're supposed to be spending your time correcting your perception, which is learning how to forgive. Yeah. Just sort of like scholarship. If you spend all your time trying to get rid of your blocks, and trying to remember me, the truth, God, your Creator, I will everything will be taken care of. Oh, yes. But if you have anything else that's more important than that, then you're going to have to take care of it. Yourself. And that's exactly what we end up doing. Mm-hmm. That we're out here trying to take care of everything. And the Course says, of course you are, because you're an atheist. And then I went, what do you mean? He says an atheist is somebody who believes they're alone and on their own. He says an atheist isn't just somebody who says, I don't believe in God. He says, you've been an atheist every time you're afraid. You think you're on your own. Because if you really knew God was with you, you wouldn't be afraid. And then my programming says, Earl, beat yourself up about that. Feel like you're a failure. Oh, I don't have faith in God like I should. See, that's what your ego tells you to do. Beat yourself up. Somehow or another, that makes you a really good person because you beat in the Course and saying, that's just like putting some logs on the fire. Mm-hmm. You should never, ever beat yourself up. You're innocent, no matter how selfish you are, or how much you lose your temper, or how much you go unconscious, or how much you are happy, and how much you are. You are loved no matter what you do. I've never met anybody like that. I've never met anybody like that. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because he said, until I want it manifested in myself. Right. Didn't he just say that? Mm-hmm. What you see in the world is what you want to. So until Earl wants to be unconditionally loving, until Earl wants to be peaceful, until Earl wants to see all of you as innocent, Earl won't see any witnesses to his innocence. That's why you don't see the nice people. Or, you know, and he's answering all the questions I've been asking all my life. Why don't I see all these beautiful people this book keeps talking about? Because the world is going to be a reflection of what you are projecting. Some things you are projecting that you know you're projecting. Some things you're projecting and you don't know you're projecting. The things you don't know you're projecting are the things you see that you tell yourself is not coming from you. Right. Everybody clear about that. That's how you can tell what you're projecting that you don't know you projecting. Wow. But he says you can't control something that's not connected to you. I can't lift my arm unless it's connected to my body. Having a separate arm over here, I have no control over it. So if I want control over my world, I better doggone start seeing myself connected to it. Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's not to my advantage to say I am not connected to Donald Trump.
Right.
That would be a lie.
That would not be true.
And I couldn't bring change to it.
And I couldn't bring any change. And regardless of your perception of him one way or another, because I'm not getting any kind of political stuff. Forget it. Don't even call me. Don't write me. I'm not responding. All right? I do not defend. You'll be totally disappointed if you write me with criticisms and judgments. You'll never hear from me. Okay? never hear from me. I never engage the ego. It's what it wants you to do.
Right.
I got a right to my point of view. You have a right to your point of view. That's the end of the story. That's it. But I tell you what, my world is going to come from my point of view. Your world is going to come from your point of view. So the question is, what do you want to see? Separation or oneness. That's why I don't engage the ego, because it's like putting a log on the fire of separation. And I'm not putting any more logs on those fires. I have done it my whole life. I'm not going to continue to do it, even if everybody around me do it. I'm going to want only one thing, love. And that's, was somebody over here? Yeah, here, my brother. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So this goes back to, suppose I'm all loving and peaceful inside and forgiving and all good, and yet there is conflict in Middle East, or even conflict here, you know, outside, you know, with Trump and everybody. And instead of feeling guilty that I have projected it outside unconsciously, can I say, like, God is in
Speak up
charge?
loud.
Okay, can I, instead of blaming myself for projecting this, you know, so can I say instead, can I think that God is in charge and it's all good?
Yes.
Outside, because God has all power. And
Absolutely. Yeah. What I love about the truth is that there are so many different approaches to it. And so whenever I'm sharing up here, it's just one way of looking at it. I'm never taking the position that the way I'm looking at it is. Actually, if you follow along the book, I'm only repeating what the book is saying. That's why I try to put my classes, the emphasis on the book, rather than my opinions. And even when it looks like I'm giving you my opinion, I tell you. So, like for instance, a sentence like this: when you want only love, how will you know? You will see nothing else. What's to analyze about that? Would somebody please tell me what's that? How do I know I don't want only love? Because I see something else. So that gets Earl out of denial. So Earl can go, oh, okay, right now I don't want only love yet, so I need to put my focus on wanting only love. I'm not putting any of my attention on analyzing. Well, what do you mean when you say you want only love, you see nothing else? Do you see anything else other than love? Yes. Then that just said, you must want to see that. What? Yeah, you're seeing what you want to see. What? You are seeing, you are experiencing in your life right now what you want. You mean I wanted that father who abused me? What you wanted was love. What you want is love. What you always wanted is love. So we're not going to analyze the father that abused you. We're going to focus on you healing, and the way you will heal from that is to only want love now. To only want to focus on the truth right now. Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I got to work through all that. Okay, go to a counselor. And you all work on that together. Why? He says, the Course says, because if you couldn't heal yourself, you should stop trying. And you should temporarily believe in something outside yourself to heal. It says it right there in the book. So go to the counselor. Talk about what happened with your father. This book is completely loving and nurtures you no matter what you think. It's maddening. Because it will it will nurture you. I don't care how much you try to punish yourself. It won't do it. It won't. And the culture that believes punishment is correction. We're in a culture that believes the way you correct somebody is to punish them, but not work on their mind.
Yeah, that penalty.
It's so dumb. It's such a dumb approach, but it looks like it works.
Right.
And so that's why people do it, but it doesn't. Or you wouldn't keep having the same thing. The Course in Miracles says, if you really heal something, It only has to happen once. That if you are over and over being, in other words, if you keep getting colds, you haven't discovered the cure for colds. Because you have a cold and the cold go away in a few months and then you get it again. He says that means you've never been cured of colds. That's deep. That's deep. You got a headache today and you had one 3 days ago. Whatever's causing your headache, you have not healed that yet. You have money problems right now, and you've had money problems before, then you don't really know how to solve the problem. If you ever really solved it, it would never come back. This book talks like that. It's once you've done something, it's done. Woo! That's deep.
It feels like it's like this, you know, if you've met junk collectors, right? They collect all these treasured items, but really it's a bunch of clutter. So it's like uncluttering, getting rid of that junk.
Exactly.
You know, just junk free.
That's right. And that's why the Course calls it an undoing. An undoing instead of a doing. He says we've already done enough. That we need to undo. And then he says undoing is easier than doing. Right? Unrolling a ball of string is a lot easier than balling it up. Demolishing a building takes 5 minutes. It took a year to build. Undoing a problem relationship and the problems in a relationship is much easier than what you've been doing. Undoing your lack is a lot easier than you trying to figure out how you're going to have abundance. The Course says, stop trying to figure that out, basically. It says, I'm going to give you what you need. I'll give it to you. If you want to pursue, if you will pursue only one goal, learning how to forgive, learning how to love, learning how to let yourself be happy, learning how to join, learning how to connect, learn how to want to see yourselves as innocent, and everything else will be added. Everything else will be added. All that stuff you're working for, trying to figure out, that load on your shoulders you're trying to take care of. There's in the new annotated version of the Course where they put in everything that was ever left out of it, out of her notes. Jesus in that Course said, let me handle all the minutia in your, what he called it minutia, all the stuff that we're trying to figure out. Rent, money, clothes, what he calls it minutia. He says, because that will free you up to focus on what's really important is the truth. And that made so much sense to me. And I said, okay, I'm doing it just the opposite. I'm putting all my attention on the day-to-day minutia and not focusing my attention as much on my self-realization and my awakening. And that's what he said in the book. He said, I'll take care, I'll even tell you what clothes to wear. I know what you don't, I know your taste. I know what you might take back. You know, it's like, that's minutia. Let me take care of that so you can focus on your awakening process. That made total sense. Because that's the decision I made years ago when I decided I was going to do the Course full time. That was me making a commitment for me to put that first. Because I knew that every class I taught, I was going to hear this in. It's a brilliant strategy. I knew the people were going to change. That's natural. But I've been in mostly every class I ever taught. Some of y'all know exactly what I mean. Yeah. I let the other one teach the class. All right. All right, so let's acknowledge ourselves right now. Let's open your ears this month. Because I want to do chapter 8. I want to do it right. And I think we got enough to chew on and kind of integrate it. I'm going to have mercy on all of us. I'm going to have mercy. But see, I have to catch myself because I'm just getting warmed up when most people are ready to pass out. Yeah, the course used to put me to sleep when I first started. But now it's the thing that generates the most aliveness, and it's the world that puts me to sleep. I'm much more likely to go to sleep in what most people call an exciting movie that's turning them on. And then I could be listening to stuff like this and I'm on the edge of my seat. Right. But I remember when it was just the opposite. Don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, we've come a long way. So we'll do the love offering. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Yes. Those of you online, if you'd like to make a love offering, a financial expression of appreciation, which I would truly appreciate, go to my website, earlpurdy.com, And you can also use Venmo. And my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I've heard my name so many times in my lifetime. You have no idea how many times I've heard my name because I've been saying it. That's how I'll get people, that's how I'll hear my name everywhere. I'll say it. I know I got this thing handled. Whatever I want, I just give it to myself. I don't have to wait for nobody else. But you know what happens when you do that? The world starts to give it to you. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing. It's like the minute you start giving stuff to yourself, then the world starts giving it to you. Yet when you thought it the old way that it was about sacrificing in some way, you were always giving to people, and then it looked like sometimes you wouldn't be getting back anything that you've been given. Because it doesn't work that way. If I'm not giving me nothing, nothing's not giving me nothing. If I'm giving me something, then everybody gives me something. That's the law. That's the law. So if I want somebody that loves me, I got to start by wanting to manifest it in myself. That's too easy. Because I used to spend all my time trying to get somebody else to love me. All my attention would be on trying to get somebody else to love me and do what I could do to make them love me. And they didn't. Then I got into the truth and I started loving myself more and perfectly okay whether I'm with somebody or not. And then that's when I started having all these opportunities for relationships. It's mind-boggling how it's so much easier. The truth is so much easier than the way people do it in the world. But they actually think this is the hard way. I have people to write me and go, I hear what you're saying, but that's hard. Yeah, okay, what's hard? Changing your mind or you changing somebody else's?
Change your own.
Right. It's nothing that we're saying is harder. So those of you who like to do a one-on-one with me, it's called a clarity session. Go to my website and it explains it in detail. And you can self-book online. I love to work with people on a personal level, working through those layers, going down the rabbit hole. You'd be surprised how fascinating you are. You know, you are. You so much more to you, and it could be so much easier for you. I'm so glad that that I've been doing this, for almost, well, the course be 40 years this year. And in that 30-something years that I've been doing it full time, I've had a chance to experience so many things. I've had a chance to experience speaking in front of hundreds of people. I've had opportunity to experience letting myself receive lots of money and getting the chance to see what that felt like. And then I've given myself opportunities to have a desire for money, which is abundance. I've had every kind of relationship that you can imagine, because as I began to feel innocent, I didn't have any problem exploring anything. So my life became an adventure once I let go of the idea of sin and guilt. Right. If I didn't have to feel sinful or guilty, then I could do whatever I wanted to do as long as it was rooted in love. See, you don't have to worry about what a person's going to do to you and with you if its relationship is rooted in love, right? So I had a chance to explore all kinds of relationships, all kinds of financial situations, traveling, all of that. And in the end, what I learned was my happiness had nothing to do with none of it. And that I can be as peaceful and happy in this room speaking to you as I could when I was speaking in front of hundreds of people, because my happiness comes from me. And then I could bring my happiness into everything that I did. So then I could have happiness if I'm traveling on vacation, happiness if I'm in a relationship, happiness if money is coming, whatever, because the happiness is in me. So now I can have happiness in my car. I can have happiness in. So it's not saying I don't enjoy the pleasures and the things of the material world, but when you are the light, then wherever you go, you light up the whole experience because you are the light. So of course you're happy in your home because you're loving yourself in your home. Of course you're happy in your car. You're loving yourself in your car. You follow what I'm saying? It's like then that's when you really enjoy the world that you projected, because you're the light of the world. Also, what the Course was saying made total sense to me. You are the light of your world. But we are taught that we need to get somebody to light us up. Right? Yeah. I'm going to find that person that's going to light me up. Yeah. Think that, and it's tons of them will show up so fast if you say, "I am ready to learn." The Course said, just say, "I'm ready to learn."
I'm ready to learn.
I am ready to learn. And then, but don't forget, you got to do what? You have to decide what it is you want to learn.
Love.
Right? And then he said, and then the Course says, that once you decide on the direction you want to go in, hear me now. He says, the once you decide, I want to go in the direction of love and truth and joy and happiness, which he would call one direction. The Course says that's all the universe has been waiting for you to sincerely do. Then it says, everything else will be given to you. Everything, he said, what y'all need to focus on is what you want. He says, you all keep focusing on how you're going to get it. And that's a mistake. He says that once you get clear about what you want, then how to get it will start to naturally happen. You may see something in the paper. You might get some instruction. You might be led to take a class. He said the once that you decided you wanted to come here today, how to get here happened. But if you hadn't decided you wanted to get here, then the how-to would have never shown up because it wasn't a need for it, because you didn't make the decision you wanted to come. So the Course in Miracles is saying to me, do the same thing with your life. Give it a purpose. And give it a purpose other than power, money, fame, and physical pleasure in the world. Because there's nothing in the world that's going to last, which I don't like, which is all the more reason why you should enjoy it. See, when I hear that, I don't get depressed right here. You know, nothing in the world is going to last. It's like, okay, then that's all the more reason why I need to lick the ice cream while it's here.
Right.
Right? And so what does that do? That puts you totally in the now. That's where you end up at. You go, all right, I don't know if I'm going to see any of y'all 2 hours from now, an hour from now, but you're in front of me right now. So this is my opportunity to do two things. Teach you who I am and demonstrate who I am and who you are to me. So every situation for me is just another opportunity for me to show up, to show people who I am, but also I want to show you how valuable you are to me, how much I appreciate you. Why? Because I don't attack you. I want you to have safety. I want you to have peace. I tell you that you're free. I tell you that you're not alone, and that you have God. That is what you mean to me. That I only want you to hear the most loving things about you and confident things about you as possible. And even if I didn't mean it, it still is what you deserve.
Right.
So you still need to hear it. So I don't even worry about the sincerity of people anymore. I don't spend 5 minutes trying to figure out what a person's motive is when they're talking to me, because the only thing that matters when I'm talking to them is mine. I'm going to always meet my purpose, not theirs. They'll meet their purpose. So I'll just leave that to the universe. I'm going to meet my purpose. So I just need to be clear, I'm here to be a light and love, and even if the person is a crook. I'm here to, and that's my crook self.
Right. Right.
That's my crook self. So I need to let my crook self see what an honest, loving person looks like.
Yes.
I need to introduce my crook
to you.
to the me that's not a crook.
To the innocent.
Yeah, to the innocent me. So if there's any, going into this new year, if there's anybody in your life that you are constantly allowing yourself to be criticized, judged, and put down by, love yourself enough to not go around them.
Right.
Thank you.
Love yourself enough that you're not around them.
Thank you.
Because that's you saying to yourself, I'm not going to invest in that illusion anymore. And the Course says the way you get rid of an illusion, the way you get rid of a fear, and he says to not invest in it. And that's why I said when people, they come online and they want to attack me for any reason, which is very rare, I'm never going to respond. They will never hear from me. I've done this a long time. I know what happens with the ego. If you don't feed it, if you don't give it any energy, even the energy of, I'm trying to work it out with it, it will disappear. Once you try, and you try to use reason, and all you got was rebuffed, then don't invest in any more attack or separation. And it will dissipate. It'll disappear. The ego needs conflict to survive. The fear-based mind can't survive without anger and fear. That's it. That's the blood the Dracula of the ego needs. It needs anger and fear. So if you come out of a place that's not rooted in anger and fear, you begin to dissipate the ego around you. Because the people who need conflict and fear, they need people who are going to fight with them, defend with them, and debate with them.
Right.
It's easier because you're not going to win. You're no longer trying to be the ego. You're no longer trying to attack people. So you're not going to be as good at debating and fighting as you used to. You're not going to win.
Right.
People who are totally in the ego and fight all day long, always fighting, angry and upset, that's their way of life. You're a person who no longer wants to be like that. That means your fight muscle isn't as strong as their fight muscle. You'll lose. You can't meet the ego at the level of the ego. When you're no longer wanting to be in the ego, you'll fall flat on your face every time.
It's easier to just say you win.
Yeah, it's just easier to go.
Yeah.
If I defend myself, I'm attacked. My defenselessness, I will be strong, and I'll see what my defenses hide. Hello, I'm out of here. Okay, I love y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for coming. Y'all awesome. I love you online. Share the video, and listen back. Listen, there's a lot of good stuff in here today. Earl. See, I know who these classes for.